at some point this year, next year, states are going to ask for Kalshi to be taxed. And I think they're going to have to pay taxes if they continue to operate in this space. Specifically, the state of Pennsylvania is looking and saying, hey, our sports books are paying us tax money every month to do the same thing you guys are doing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Question, where's the $100,000 gone? Like, if they're going to give it to Amari DiMercato as an apology? It does give us a little bit of insight, though, into that moment. Like, I wondered what Gannon had said to DiMercato there. It obviously did, it cost Arizona a football game in a division that they cannot afford. But that is an interesting one.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Are we going to sit here today and acknowledge that the Indianapolis Colts right now are the best team in the AFC?
They are right now.
They can run the football with Taylor. They got a competent quarterback, the way he's playing right now, in Daniel Jones. They are well coached.
They never punt.
They never punt.
They never punt.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Let's start in the Atlantic, where the New York Knicks are minus 250 favorites to win the Atlantic Division. Philadelphia 76ers at plus 490, Boston 8-1, Toronto 13-1, Brooklyn 25-1, and it could be 250,000-1. They're not winning the division.
Betting above the rim, only on
Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone A. Johnson here as always. We have another great show planned for you, and we're living in very interesting times right now. Let me just check my handy-dandy notebook. Today is October 14th, 2025, and I can tell you for the first time in a very, very, very long time, it's wide open, baby. It's wide open. If you root for an AFC team right now that is 500 or better, you can start dream the impossible dream. And that means Super Bowl, because everybody's alive for it right now. There is no dominant team in the AFC. There might be a couple in the NFC. We'll get to that another day. But after last night's Buffalo Bills loss, all right, a 10-point loss last night to the Atlanta Falcons, 24-14. It's now anybody's conference to win. I thought for sure the Bills were going to have an easy game of it against Atlanta. I totally misread what the Atlanta Falcons bring to the table. Michael Penix playing good quarterback. Obviously, Bijan Robinson, arguably the best offensive player in all football, not just the AFC. But the result of last night's game is that I think we can start looking at the Buffalo Bills now a little bit differently. The Buffalo Bills cannot run the ball thus far this year. They can't stop the run. You saw that again last night. Bijan Robinson had 19 rushes for 170 yards, added another 68 catching the ball for over 200 yards out of one dude, and he's the focus of the offense. You might want to guard him or try to have a defender on him or a couple defenders on him, but Buffalo chose not to. So defensively, they're not great. Josh Allen's in some kind of weird funk the last few weeks, and I can make the argument right now that the New England Patriots are better than the Buffalo Bills, and it pains me to say that because I spent 20 years of my life as a Jet fan chasing the New England Patriots, albeit with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Now you're telling me I got to chase the New England Patriots with Mike Vrabel and Drake May? Yeah, that's a fact right now. New England has absolute Super Bowl aspirations right now. The Bills do too. But after last night, I decided to do, I don't know, something we call in the sports talk radio business, research. Most people don't. I'm the anomaly. I'm the rare guy that actually reads. I'm the rare guy that actually does his homework. Other than when we're talking about Seattle Mariners pitchers, we'll get to that a little bit later on because I'm in a big fight with the 3 Mariners fans that exist in the country. I'll get to that later, a little bit later on. I got to win, they got to win, but we're having a nice little battle online right now. But consider this, if you will, just for a moment. The Buffalo Bills wins this year. They are 4-2. And while in a tie with the Patriots have the tiebreaker because they beat them the only time they faced off head-to-head two weeks ago. I guess a week ago, right?
Yep.
So the Buffalo Bills beat the Baltimore Ravens. Remember that great fourth quarter comeback? 4.5 minutes left, down 15, and somehow, some way, the Bills come back and they beat the Ravens. Well, what did we learn about the Ravens? They have arguably the worst defense in the AFC. It's still a game the Ravens should have won because they dropped 40 on the Bills. But another example that the Bills' defense, not great.
Yep.
All right, so the Bills take a Week 1 win against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens right now are, let me check, 1-5. That doesn't count as a good win, right? Week 2, or the second game I like to have in my schedule, they play the New York Jets. They beat the New York Jets. The New York Jets right now, the only winless team in all of football at 0-6. Does that count as a good win? No, it doesn't, because the Jets stink, right? Yeah. Let's go to their third win this year. They beat the Miami Dolphins. You remember the Miami Dolphins, the team that players show up late to players-only meetings and hate the quarterback and hate the head coach, and they are, let me check, a 1-win team. So while it's a division win, does that count as a high-level win for the Buffalo Bills? No, it does not. And let's go to their last win. They beat the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints have a single win this season, and it happened to be against the New York Giants, a team that's only got 2 wins thus far on the season. So the Bills this year have beaten the Ravens 1-5, the Jets 0-6, the Dolphins 1-5, and the Saints 1-5. They are beating up on the worst teams in the league, and they have not beaten a team with a 500 or better record thus far this year. If I lived in Buffalo, and I did for 7 months, 1991 was August 24th of 91 into May of 92. 7 months of my life, I lived in Buffalo. All right? 7 months. I was with a lot of heavy women to keep me warm in October, November, December, January, and February. And the reason I couldn't hook up with an attractive, thin woman is because simply known in Buffalo, Jim Kelly had them all.
Oh, man.
All right?
There was none left.
In
Not
the early
one left?
90s, if you wanted to hook up with an attractive woman, your name had to be Jim Kelly. Yeah.
There wasn't one left
Not
over?
one.
Not one?
If Jim Kelly had a party, all the pretty girls were there. So guys like me, you had to go to the one-legged gal with a limp, right? But she kept you warm in your studio apartment in a retirement home with cockroaches and ramen noodles, because that's all I had.
My goodness.
And Santa Barbara every afternoon at 3 o'clock. That's all I had in Buffalo. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
The Bills, I'm trying to find a better word than fraudulent because it's an overused word. But the Bills right now are the most fraudulent 4-2 team, or even just a team with a winning record that exists in the NFL. Again, their 4 wins are against teams with a combined 3-21 record. So who have they beaten? And last night they played a team playing at home. I can't remember the last time the Falcons had a nationally televised home game. And they're a good football team all of a sudden. Raheem Morris is doing a good job. Bijan Robinson is a rock star defensively. They did everything they wanted to do in getting pressure on Josh Allen. And I'm not looking back. And I'm going to go to my handy-dandy notebook right here and look at the standings in the AFC. And there's no dominant team. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are still very much alive, and if the refs want to keep helping them, they're going to win a lot of football games. Yeah. More on that later on as well.
The
Ravens
are
done.
Now. The Texans are alive at 2-3.
Texans are back alive. Like almost every team in the conference, sans the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins, seemingly are pretty much alive. And that, to me, is awesome. because it means every week, every game matters more. It's not like we're all sitting back going, all right, we're just waiting for the coronation of the Ravens or the Chiefs or the Bills.
Right.
You know, the best three teams on paper coming into this year. The Chiefs are 500. The Bills are frauds, right?
Yeah.
And the Ravens have one win. So I think we are finally going to see an AFC championship game with two other teams that typically don't make a run all the way there. And I think that's great because I'm sick and tired of the same teams getting there every single year. And those three teams always being in the last 4 or 5 teams alive in the AFC. But what I saw last night, if I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, I am seriously concerned because Josh Allen looked like a shell of himself outside of the first drive of the game and the first drive of the second half, where they obviously moved the ball down the field and scored touchdowns. I'm concerned about that Bills defense because of what Bijan Robinson did and what Michael Penix, who's an average quarterback, did against them yesterday. And at some point, you're going to be win or lose based on having talent. And the Buffalo Bills have gotten away without going out there and getting prime talent because Josh Allen always bails them out. He's that good. I don't think he was deserving of the MVP last year. I thought Lamar Jackson deserved it, but Josh Allen is that good. And all of a sudden, when you wake up, if you're a Bills fan, who's the one guy you trust other than Josh Allen? Who is he throwing the football to? Now, I know, there's guys on that team that we like, but there's no game breaker on that offense. So if you can stop the Bills from running the football, Josh Allen's got nobody to throw the rock to. And let's be honest, ever since he got married, I don't know. It's one thing when you're showing off to the girl that you want to marry. Once you get married, sometimes that game implodes. So congratulations to every other AFC team that's got a 500 record or better. You are now very much alive for a legitimate run to the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs are struggling, and the Bills are struggling, and the Ravens are done. It is a brave new world. Anybody can rock the AFC in the Super Bowl this year, and I'm here for all of it. Coming up next, when should you let a baseball hit you in the leg? After this.
Well, maybe that Chiefs dynasty is actually crumbling. And listen, I don't blame you for that, but you would be wrong. Here's what actually happened in that game last night. See, the Kansas City Chiefs dominated the Jacksonville Jaguars pretty much up and down that field. They outgained them, Donnie. You ready by this? By over 150 yards of offense.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Basically a year's worth of starts at this point, because remember, Drake May was not the starter out of the gate during his rookie year last year. That was Jacoby Brissett. There have been some, encouraging performances and, I think some flashes of what could be upper echelon talent within the scope of the league. But going into this year, it was, we're going to find out.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I told you Vladimir Guerrero would hit a home run. He hits a home run on his first pitch. 2-run shot, 2-0 Jays. And I gave you Suarez earlier. I'm telling you, Scott, Contreras last night, Story the other night, bro, every night I've been hitting these home run props. And not the easy Ohtani ones at old plus 190. Right. These are plus 450s, baby.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are we going to sit here today and acknowledge that the Indianapolis Colts right now are the best team in the AFC?
They are right now.
They can run the football with Taylor. They got a competent quarterback, the way he's playing right now, in Daniel Jones. They are well coached.
They never punt.
They never punt.
They never punt.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. A little baseball for you just real quick, because last night something crazy happened. A couple things that were crazy happened in the Dodger-Brewer game. One, Dodgers have bases loaded, 1 out. Hit a ball deep to center field. Center fielder goes back, hits his glove, pops out of his glove, hits the yellow tape on the top of the fence, which honestly, I thought that meant home run. I've been told this morning that that's there so the umpires can see or differentiate between the top of the fence and the wall behind it. But I always thought the yellow line was a home run. So I guess I'm wrong on that, although I'd like to see an actual factoid presented to me. I just heard somebody on my staff just said, no, you're wrong.
It's accurate. And it wasn't ruled a home run last night.
All I'm saying is
they didn't rule it a home run.
The ball hits the dude in the glove, pops out of the glove, and it hits the yellow line.
Right, but it didn't hit the top.
It hits the yellow line. What's the point of having the yellow line if it's not a home run?
What do you mean?
We don't need a yellow line there. Anyway, so it's like a 4-inch, whatever, 6-inch line.
Yeah.
It's like yellow paint. The ball pops out of the dude's glove, hits the yellow tape. I'm like, home run, grand slam, Dodgers are going to win now, right? It pops out of his glove. He then catches it. The runners have no idea what's going on. So the dude on third actually goes back to tag up at third and kind of lollygags home, gets thrown out because it's a force play because the bases were loaded. So that's out number 2. Then the catcher realizes that the dude who's on second base never goes to third base. So he takes a slow walk in the park, up to third base, steps on the bag, and we have ourselves a double play. But I know that's the most talked about play of last night, and it was crazy watching it live last night. The announcers were also very confused about what the hell was going on, and I love Brian Anderson, but I'm like him. I'm like, home run, caught, out, not a catch, hit. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. But the play I want to talk about is actually in the 9th inning. So fast forward to the 9th inning. First off, the Dodgers decide to take Blake Snell out of the game. He pitched like a 1-hitter through 8, was at 103 pitches, and was cruising. But you know baseball, can't let a guy finish a game. So they bring Sasaki in. He doesn't do a good job. He's their closer. So they have to bring another dude in to save Sasaki. But here's what I want to get to. It's now a 2-1 game. It's the bottom of the 9th. Milwaukee's up, obviously. There's dudes on base. The bases are loaded. And you've got Bryce Terang up. Lefty, okay? Curveball comes in and looks like it's going to hit his back leg, so his left leg, all right? Because it's a way inside pitch. Instinctively, Bryce Terang kind of jumps out of the way or moves his left leg out of the way, so it's a ball. It's not ball 4, but it's a ball. All right? Fast forward the at-bat. He winds up striking out on some high cheese, and the Dodgers win the game 2-1. Everybody watching that game now, especially Brewers fans, are yelling and screaming at Bryce Terang, you got to let the ball hit you or actually move your leg into the flight of the ball so that you get hit by pitch. That forces in the tying run. Now it's a 2-2 game, 2 outs, bases loaded, a hit wins the game for you, and you take a 1-0 lead. And I'm sitting there going, you guys have some balls. You people out there, you negative Nellies out there, and I'm not typically a guy that goes, if you've never done it, hard to comment on it, because it's my whole living, your whole living. Right. We've never done it, but we have opinions on it. You're asking a guy having a projectile thrown at him at 90+ miles per hour, so we're talking splits of seconds here. The ball's about to hit you, and you want this guy to have the presence of mind in Game 1 of the NLCS to actually allow the ball to hit him, or even worse, physically move into the flight of the ball to guarantee that the ball hits you to get the tying run. Yes, in a Disney movie, that would be great. We would all sign up for that. Bryce Terang becomes a hero, took one for the team, and we tie the game 2-2. Worst case scenario, we're going into extras. Would have been great theater, right? I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever had a flying object coming towards your body, the immediate instinct, the natural instinct is to get the F out of the way so it doesn't hit you.
Absolutely.
I get it. You lost the game. You're upset. I totally can relate to that. And I feel for you losing Game 1 against the LA Dodgers. But to blame Bryce Terang for not allowing the ball to hit him in what is a pop-up, split-second mental decision is crazy talk. Because the instinct is always going to be to get out of the way of the flying object that's coming to hit you. Now, yes, would you like your players to have the presence of mind that I understand the situation and I know going into the batter's box, if anything's close, I'll take it off my body because it ties the game? I'm not arguing with that philosophy. That's a fine philosophy to have, that everyone's very much aware what happens if. That's what baseball is all about. Every Little League coach that you've ever played for tells you, before every pitch, what do you say? What do I do if the ball's hit to me? Right. So you're mentally into it. But telling a guy in that spot, if it's inside, let it hit you, I honestly think you're asking too much. And I think the criticism of Bryce Terang in this spot, while I understand it, because it's emotionally based, I think it's misplaced.
It is, and the other part is the pitch was low. So let's say this is going to be a small in the back. Maybe he does that little half turn where you fake it and you take it. That's a more natural motion for baseball players. It's
a tough one.
Down by the legs, it's just not natural.
And by the way, I get it. I understand the thought process here. You got to know the situation.
Right. But
you have to know that if I get hit, that ties the game, right? But if you take that to the nth degree, so if a dude drills the ball in his face, should he take it?
Of course
because it ties the game?
Right.
Or should he turn his head?
Exactly.
So that the ball doesn't hit him right in the dentures, right?
Right.
And I know that's an egregious example,
but it's the same kind of thing. It's unnatural. Again, if it was a perfect pitch, a curveball that got away, and hits him right in the back, he may have even taken it.
Yeah.
That's not what that was.
No, it was a weird situation. And again, I understand the criticism. I do. It's also not why they lost the game.
No, they get hits.
I know it's that moment. That moment, by the way, if he takes it off the leg, ties the game. But the Brewers had 2 hits in the entire game. And for 8 innings had 1 hit.
Yeah.
So their offense stunk. So let's not blame Bryce Terang for not taking the ball off the leg as the reason, because it's not the call's the reason they lost the game. Blake Snell was awesome last night, and for my money, should have tried to finish the game. You would have Sasaki ready. If he lets one guy on, do it. But the Dodgers escape out of game 1 with a 1-0 win. One game lead, pardon me. Yeah. Meanwhile, Toronto's down 0-2 to Seattle. Football next, don't touch it.
Have you been watching Tua Tagovailoa's post-game press conferences where he basically is like, yeah, I'm getting paid, deal with it. By the way, how's the team? Nobody shows up to meetings, players-only meetings, people skip out. Nobody cares around here, and we lost again. Tua threw 3 interceptions. Yes, he's part of the problem. James Franklin got fired from Penn State, we'll talk about later. When is McDaniels getting shown the door? This team is ridiculous, Joe.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Basically a year's worth of starts at this point, because remember, Drake May was not the starter out of the gate during his rookie year last year. That was Jacoby Brissett. There have been some, encouraging performances and, I think some flashes of what could be upper echelon talent within the scope of the league. But going into this year, it was, we're going to find out.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I told you Vladimir Guerrero would hit a home run. He hits a home run on his first pitch. 2-run shot, 2-0 Jays. And I gave you Suarez earlier. I'm telling you, Scott, Contreras last night, Story the other night, bro, every night I've been hitting these home run props. And not the easy Ohtani ones at plus 190. Right. These are plus 450s, baby.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are we going to sit here today and acknowledge that the Indianapolis Colts right now are the best team in the AFC?
They are right now.
They can run the football with Taylor. They got a competent quarterback, the way he's playing right now, in Daniel Jones. They are well coached.
They never punt.
They never punt.
They never punt.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
I Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. You may have seen, James Franklin, Penn State coach, got fired from the Nittany Lions. Now it's going to be all hands on deck approach to finding the next coach for that corrupt, cult-like program in Happy Valley. But part of the deal with his contract is not just that he has what's called offset or mitigating language in the contract. Real quick, what that means is that if he goes and gets a job elsewhere, whatever that job pays him, Penn State doesn't have to pay that amount. So just real quick, he's making $8 million for the next 6 years. If Tyrone A. Johnson hired him for $1 million a year, well, then Penn State would only have to pay him $7 million,
right,
and then the other $1 million comes out of the new job. But there's also a lot in this contract that requires and demands that he actively pursue employment, which for me, because I'm a creative thinker, that's the next great television show out there. I call it James Franklin Needs a Job. And I would escort James as like his wingman, and I would have him apply for all sorts of different jobs, kind of like the micro dirty jobs show.
Yeah. Well, what kind of jobs?
James Franklin's making $8 million a year for the next 6 years, no matter what, right?
No matter what.
Just a matter of where the money comes from, but he's guaranteed making the $8 million, right?
Yep.
So how great would it be if James Franklin, because his contract states he has to attempt to find employment. It doesn't say what type of employment. It just says he has to try to mitigate the financial responsibility that Penn State has.
Yep.
I got all sorts of jobs I think James Franklin could try to try out for, and I think it would be a great TV show.
It would be.
Like the guy that has to shovel up the dead deer carcasses off the New Jersey roadways.
Oh man.
Yeah,
that's a rough job.
James Franklin.
He's
so
on the side of the road.
You'll be driving on the turnpike in Jersey. There's a dude in a vest scooping up dead deer parts, and you're like, is that James Franklin?
Yes.
Head coach of Penn State? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And he tries out for that job. It doesn't go so well.
Okay.
So he moves on to the next job.
All right.
But there you go. That's the next great television show. James Franklin Needs a Job. And you put him in all sorts of different scenarios. Like I have an old friend of mine. He's not a friend anymore, unfortunately. Had a job. He would have to, how do I say this delicately? It's probably the worst job I've ever heard of.
Uh-huh.
He was like a janitor in a
and a what? What was it?
He was a janitor in like a men's X-rated store where you put like quarters in the machine and the curtain opens and the girls do stuff for you.
He had to clean that up?
Yeah, he had at the end of the night, his job was to mop up all the different rooms. And you can imagine what's on the floor of those different rooms. James Franklin needs a job.
Well, what about the one at the club in which certain people dance? All right, him having to clean the poles because that guy would get tipped out. He would make money.
James Franklin needs a job,
and he's in there doing that.
I'm with you.
I think he'd do a great job doing that.
So I just thought it was interesting. Not so much that Penn State can save money if he gets a job, but he's required to look for a job.
That's right.
And I would like to be a part of that if possible.
Would you like him to sit next to you once a week?
No, I got you.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
I don't need anybody else.
All right. Well, I appreciate that.
I mean, do you want to be the guy that mops up after dudes?
Absolutely not.
All right, so stay right there.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Why are you replacing yourself?
Well, I was just wondering because you've had a lot of vitriol towards that man.
I said, look, when it comes to guys being fired, I'm always right. Because I'm not one of these guys that, goes out there willy-nilly. I don't get joy out of it, suggesting someone should lose their livelihood, which is why I don't do it that often. But I told you when they played Villanova at FIU and then took a week off before playing Oregon that they were a fraudulent program and that he was on his way out. And obviously used to Oregon, UCLA, and the Northwestern, you get fired, period, stop. So I was right on that one. I'll tell you another one I was right. I told you guys 3 weeks ago when Coach Callahan at Tennessee, after a game in which there was a question on challenging a reception or not, when he came out and said that an elbow doesn't equal 2 feet. And we're all like, yeah, it does. So does a shin, a forearm, a knee. I mean, it was the whole basis of John Madden's book. It was the title of the book, 1 knee equals 2 feet. So anybody that's ever grown up watching football has always known at the NFL level, if you don't get 2 feet in, it's okay as long as the knee hits in bounds, an elbow, a forearm, or a shin.
Something, right?
We've always known that. And when he came out 3 weeks ago and said that he thought the rule was what was opposite of what it is, and then claimed, I know the rules of NFL, and he clearly didn't. I said 3 weeks ago when the Titans looked like a poop show that Callahan, should be on his way out. And I didn't get joy out of him, just right. It's why I'm here for 34 years, because I'm almost always right. Like, you try to find my losses, I can't find any. I'm right, much like, as you'll learn after the break, I have been right for years now about the Kansas City Chiefs getting the betterment and the better calls from officials. Well, a study's been done. Another win for me right after this on the Craig Carton Show, which is also now a podcast, so download it.
Hopefully these go better. I'm smashed before 1 on these games. I cannot believe that this game destroyed me. I can. Why did I get involved live? That's on me, not
That
you.
is on you.
All right.
That's on you.
You didn't have to run up the score. I said it was on me.
It was on you.
All right.
You just didn't see the writing on the wall. Knee it! Let's get out of Dodge!
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Can I get an ISO? Come on. Give me the ISO over here.
Give
right
me the
here.
ISO.
On,
he wants the camera.
Look, I'm going to get nice and comfortable right now. I've been telling you people out there, yes, you people, about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. My connection to the Irish growing up as a kid. I hated that team. But they called me at the network the most unbiased man here, which means I'm giving you the information straight from the mouth here. You don't have to go anywhere. You get it from me.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
You're looking at Joe Burrow being the guy that I was in on the beginning of the year. Clearly, that is no longer an option. So where are we looking on this board? And I keep landing on the same thing, which is, Baker Mayfield's been kind of the story this year. Think about this. He's plus 950 for MVP. They look like right now one of the, if not the most formidable team in the NFC.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I apologize to our fans. We need to do better. That's all you need to say, Scott, right? But Tua goes out there, my kids love me. I'm rich. I don't care. You got your dumbass coach coming out here, and we play to win. You got to win the game, and you got to win. And, the Dolphins press conferences make it way worse. If I was a Dolphin fan, I just want to punch these guys in the face.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Rumor is D'Angelo might have passed away. We're trying to fact check that, and then we had to explain to our producer downstairs who D'Angelo was, because he's not an anorexic white rocker from 1978. Ethan goes, was he in Duran Duran?
Yeah, sure.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. He also wasn't the drummer for Hall & Oates. No, he wasn't. And he's not in the Yacht Rock special either.
No, but not Christopher Cross. We're working on it.
We're trying to confirm that right now. Real quick, I know everyone in Kansas City hates when I do this, and I don't want to go to the well once too often when it comes to Kansas City and the officiating, but it was interesting last night where Elijah Moore caught a ball, and there was a part of the ball that connected with the turf.
Yep.
And it was a key part of the game, and very quickly it was overturned from a catch to not a catch, because although he did have his fingers around the ball and had what looked like possession, to be fair, it's very clear that the ball hit the turf. So the referees got it right. They said incomplete pass because the ball made contact with the ground, which is in direct contrast to what happened in a key spot of Kansas City's win against the Detroit Lions, when I believe it was a third down, and they converted a pass down the field to Travis Kelce, and the same exact thing happened. Travis Kelce had his fingers around one end of the ball, but the ball absolutely made contact with the turf. That play should have been overruled to an incomplete pass. Maybe Kansas City punts there. I don't know what they would have done, but Kansas City, recognizing that Travis didn't catch it, hurried up, and they got a snap off before any type of viewer. What do they call that? With the fast assist thing?
Yes.
What do they call it?
It's a replay assist.
Replay assist.
Replay assist.
They're like, hey, let's go snap it quick. Replay assist won't hurt us. When we all watched it happen, like, once again, another example. And then, of course, I made the big deal yesterday, which went totally viral. I guess millions of people watched it. That there were 0 penalties called and accepted against the Chiefs. 0. A week ago, they had 13 penalties. This Sunday night, 0. I mean, I don't know what the evidence you need, but thankfully, the bored kids at UTEP who don't have a social life decided that they would do a little research.
Well, their football team always stinks, so they don't have they have a lot of time.
They haven't been good at sports since Tim Hardaway did the crossover there for the first time, the UTEP two-step, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, the kids at UTEP, these are really smart kids, like PhD, future leaders of our country, and math majors for sure. They probably know how to count cards and they're good at blackjack also. But they did a study on the officials and calls that were made versus calls that aren't made for every single team in the league. So they started off with a blank slate here, okay? And 2 of the results that came out in the NFL from 2023 through today is this. The Kansas City Chiefs benefited from 45% more roughing the passer penalty calls against the defense they're facing than any other team in the league.
That's a lot.
45% more. Meaning if you breathe on Patrick Mahomes, you're going to get a flag thrown on you. And I thought it was a great juxtaposition this past weekend when we saw Baker Mayfield get dropped hard and popped up flexing like, let's go. You want to hit me? I'm your Huckleberry. He wasn't crying for the officials to throw a flag.
He wasn't.
He took the hit like a man, jumped up and said, I'm coming back for more. If you breathe on Patrick Mahomes, it's an immediate turnaround to the referees, hands up in the air, throw the flag. And according to the UTEP study, he's gotten that call 45% more than any other quarterback in the NFL. Let me give you one more stat that came out of it. Defensive holding against the Chiefs' opponent, all right? Defensive holding, as you know, is a 5-yard penalty, but what does it include? Automatic
first down.
Automatic first down, which, what do we call that? Keeping a drive alive, giving the best quarterback in football another 3 shots at a potential score, right? Well, the Kansas City Chiefs have gotten 32% more defensive holding calls that benefited them than any other team in football. And let's just stop it right there. Because I know when it's me saying it, it's a broken record for a lot of you. Oh, that's just Carton. He hates the Chiefs. He's jealous of the Chiefs. He whatever he can find to put the Chiefs down. But there's nothing empirical about it. And now we have the data. Now we have empirical data done by bored college kids. They're probably getting credits for the study, who can now prove tangibly and statistically that from 2023 on, the Kansas City Chiefs have gotten the betterment of calls when compared to every other team in the NFL. Now, one might say, well, that's what good teams get. Great players always get the benefit of the calls, no matter what the sport is. The problem with that theory or that thesis is that they compared the numbers of this current run of Kansas City to the heyday of the New England Patriots, and it's not close. It is not close, and it completely favors Kansas City. There's a reason the Chiefs are on 3 consecutive nationally televised evening games. 3 consecutive. Because they are, next to the Dallas Cowboys, the most popular team with the best quarterback in football. I get it. Popularity sells. But Chiefs fans can no longer say that it's just envy or jealousy or bitterness or hatred, because the kids at UTEP started with a blank slate. They just wanted to see if there was any truth to it, so they did a legitimate study. And the numbers don't lie. It's the beauty of numbers. They don't lie. And the numbers will tell you that the officiating has been embarrassingly skewed in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs, both with calls against the opponent's defense from a holding standpoint and calls against the opponent's defense when they get anywhere near the vicinity of Patrick Mahomes. And if you don't think that's a problem, or other teams don't game plan for that, you're wrong, because it is a problem. And if I'm coaching an opponent of the Kansas City Chiefs, my mantra all week long has to be, don't give the refs an excuse to do what they're dying to do. Much like I wouldn't walk a fat kid in front of a donut shop at 5:30 in the morning when the donuts are coming out of the fryers. Because what's that fat kid gonna do?
Well,
he can't help himself. He's gonna grab multiple donuts. He's Augustus Gloop. If you give an NFL official an opportunity to throw the flag that benefits Kansas City, it is now empirically proven they are going to throw the flag. The fat kid is going to reach for the donut. That's a fact.
It is. Now, first off, the Patriots were gifted a whole Super Bowl with that tuck rule. BS. The Raiders should have beat them in that game. But
that wasn't a rule at the time.
It wasn't, but that's why they went
I don't disagree with you, but it wasn't a rule.
They went to different forms of cheating in order to make up for the ref. The Chiefs don't have to cheat because the refs are cheating on their behalf.
But
they're cheating on their behalf.
So
the refs.
I can't blame Kansas City that the refs curry favor to them. I guess that's an argument I won't win. So I'm with you on that. But it doesn't change the fact what I said yesterday, and that is even having the best quarterback in football and a Hall of Fame tight end and the fastest wide receiver in football and the best defensive coordinator and arguably a top 4 coach in the history of the NFL.
Unarguable at this point. He's in there now. Yeah.
But you could debate where he goes in the top 4. Don't matter to me.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
But it doesn't change the reality that they don't win on merit.
They don't.
And they're good enough to win on merit. And that's what's so frustrating. I root for a team that sucks. I own it. The New York Jets cannot win on merit. And if you gave us calls, we might not win. The Chiefs are good enough to win on merit. But the NFL doesn't allow them to. I'm telling you, the study speaks volumes. And if the NFL sees that study, and they'll probably throw it in the garbage can and say it doesn't mean anything to us, right? Doesn't matter at all. It's why people have a problem. I want to see a Super Bowl champion win on merit. And they're good enough to do it, but the NFL is so worried about them not getting to the Super Bowl, they rig it so they do get to the Super Bowl. And in this year, more than any year recently, as we open the show with, it's wide open. The Chargers can make the Super Bowl. They can. The Patriots can make the Super Bowl. The Colts can make the Super Bowl. But you know exactly who's going to be sitting there in the AFC Championship game with the referees waiting, like they're in a shootout with Billy the Kid, hands on the pistol, waiting to go. Wait, did someone burp? Throw the flag. Come on. Stop.
Shedeur Sanders will be starting for the Browns by week 9. I am buying this. I am buying this absolutely. At a certain point, Joe Flacco just not the answer. We know they already made the change. Dylan Gabriel is starting this week. We know that. But maybe a team needs a quarterback, and they're willing to trade for Joe Flacco for some level of stability, and then we simply get nothing out of Dylan Gabriel. He is a rookie quarterback when it's all said and done. Maybe there's just no production from him. So why not just move on to a different rookie quarterback that you have just to see what you have? And then, as George, as you mentioned up at the top, you have to evaluate going into next year's draft. So I will absolutely buy this.
The next 4 weeks, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Miami, New England. I mean, the question is this. If they truly believe that Gabriel could be a future starter, you got to give him more than 4 weeks, right? That's 4 weeks is not enough. Minnesota, that's a rough game, all right, being played, England this week. Pittsburgh, they haven't have a defense. Miami is not very good. New England's supposed to have a good defense, hasn't here. I'm going to sort of go. I mean, I think Shedeur Sanders is going to start at some point this week. I don't think it's going to be by week 10, although that does make sense here to name him the starter during the bye week, get him 2 weeks here. I'm going to go more, maybe double digits, week 12, week 14, somewhere around there. Because I want to give Gabriel a longer run. I think Gabriel might do some damage here against these lesser defenses here. So I think give him a longer runway here. That being said, I do not think Gabriel is the long-term future of this team. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback at all here. I think he's a number 2 at best here. Sanders could be a number 1. I have doubts about him too. I think Sanders has a better shot. So by week 9, by week 10, I'll sell that. But if you were to give me a couple of more weeks, I would have bought it.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. We got to mention real quick, though, last night's other game. I know it's confusing for a lot of you. You had the baseball game on. You had the 7:15 game, then an 8:15 game. Next Monday, there's another doubleheader. I think it's 7 and 10 because the NFL hates us. It's just enough for these Monday night doubleheaders. Anyway, Chicago, give them credit. Chicago was going to lose that game last night. Jaden Daniels and Washington have the rock and the lead, and they're right around midfield. And Jaden Daniels just mishandles a shotgun snap, can't hand the ball off properly. He took ownership of it after. And then Chicago did something interesting. So they get this reprieve late in the game because they're going to lose the game. The game's a wrap. Washington's got the ball, a couple more first downs, and it's over. And Chicago loses for the first time in 3 weeks. But Washington has the turnover. Now, Chicago's got the ball. All they had to do was get into field goal position with a chance to try to win the game. Their field goal kicker is Moody. He was the former San Francisco 49er kicker. He's not very good. He had one field goal blocked last night, had a couple others 40-plus, but he's not a consistent field goal kicker. And I thought it was weird with about 1:40 or so to go that Chicago clearly looked like they were playing for the kick. Like they were not interested in having Caleb really test his arm and go downfield or go downfield in the middle of the field and risk a potential interception. This was, let's get 20 yards and let Moody try to win the game for us. He had already had a kick blocked, and I'm saying, I don't trust Moody at all. I saw that dude miss a bunch of kicks for San Francisco. Long story short, he does make the kick, all good. Chicago gets the win. That's 3 in a row for Chicago. Washington losing. Turns out that your Eagles had a great weekend.
Absolutely.
A great weekend after the Thursday night loss to the New York Giants because the Dallas Cowboys lost to Carolina. Washington, who could have been in a first-place tie with them record-wise, loses last night. So Philly kind of gets away with their back-to-back losses.
They do.
The last one being against the New York Giants. And now you've got the Minnesota Vikings coming up with Carson Wentz. So what could have been all of a sudden some pressure on Philadelphia because had the Commandos won, obviously they're 4-2 tied for first place. Had the Cowboys won, they'd be over 500 and a half game back for first place. And the Giants are feeling good about themselves. So what could have been a very interesting mid to late October, early November for Philly, it still might be, but Philly got a major break this weekend and last night with both Washington losing and the Dallas Cowboys losing. And now you got to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Now you got to go beat Minnesota and then take a little revenge against the New York Giants and Philly the following week. And then you could take a big sigh and a big deep breath. But it was this close because the Cowboys, lost on the last kick, to Carolina. Washington loses on the last play of the game, the kick. And because of the way they both kind of faltered late, different reasons, of course, Cowboys gave up 30 to Carolina. And, Jaden Daniels does something he's never going to do and just drops the snap.
Also threw an interception in the game. What I'm starting to notice is Chicago doesn't make mistakes, and the same thing goes with Atlanta. It's looking like so far in the NFC, the cleaner football teams are the ones winning.
Yeah, I think it's probably typically the case.
But in the AFC, it's been a little bit more wild.
AFC's all over the place.
It's been a little wild.
All right, let's get to some news and notes while we have time for it. I'll start you off in the NBA. You may have seen that the Milwaukee Bucks have signed another anti-Thibault. Apparently, Giannis has another brother who thinks he can play basketball.
Yes.
They signed his other brother to a two-way deal.
Yeah, Alex.
And Alex Joseph. Yeah. And look, Milwaukee admitted it. I don't know if it was the GM or someone else, the owner, but someone came out and goes, yeah, we know what we're doing. The Knicks wanted him. Everybody wants him. He's willing to stay in Milwaukee. We'll sign his mother to a 10-day contract. And anybody else with the same last name, if that dude will stay in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So I get it. And I know all the Nepo folk, the anti-nepotism folks out there are yelling and screaming about it like you care who the 11th and 12th men are on the Milwaukee Buck bench.
He's actually like number 13. It's a two-way contract. Yeah. He's going to be in the G League. He's going to be up and down.
He's basically Bronny James. That's what this is. And other than being his son, it's his brother. Yeah. So I know you could yell and scream all you want about what the Milwaukee Bucks are doing. At no point did Milwaukee say that we think he's a starter in this league. At no point did his brother say, I'm better than a lot of dudes I see in this league. And they didn't draft him in the second round and give him $4.5 million guaranteed. So quit your yelling and screaming. If I was Milwaukee, and that's the only way to guarantee that my best player in the last 40 years stays with me, like I said, you got a grandma that plays basketball? 10-day contract. Yeah. You got a one-legged dwarf sister that plays basketball?
Fine.
Two-way contract. And speaking of one-legged dwarfs, do you think that this planet has on it a 4-foot-tall person that can dunk on a 10-foot goal? Do you think the animal exists?
I believe so, because I think Simone Biles is not 4 feet, but she's 5 foot.
Dunk.
Have you seen her vertical leap?
Her vertical leap. It's a trampoline she's running on.
You got to see her regular vertical leap on a football field. No, I think she may be able to dunk.
Gymnasts run on trampoline floors.
I've seen her not on those floors.
You think you can do that kind of flip on a wood floor?
I believe right now at 5 foot she can touch this high ceiling.
I don't think so. But let me show you a video of a little guy. It's my favorite video of the week.
I thought this was fake.
Yeah, I did too. This guy is 4 feet 3 inches tall. And yeah.
I mean, what? He's the greatest athlete in history. Look how small he is.
Yeah, I didn't know Webster could dunk.
This is unbelievable how much he gets up. And he goes like kind of reverse with power.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's the greatest dunk in the history of the world.
Another story for you that's only going to make news here in New York. The New York Jets and Giants share a building. It's a dump. It's called MetLife Stadium. Unfortunately, they were both cheap, and while it still cost $1.2 billion, neither team wanted to fork out all the money. And I don't know how much money the city gave or the state of New Jersey gave, but they split it. Yeah. So Giants and Jets share a building, which is just stupid, right? They're the only two teams in the NFL that share a building, and in the most populous and wealthy states in America.
At the time, LA they share now. But at the time, they were
right. Not anymore, right? Yeah. So what's crazy about this is there is an out in the contract. The Jets or the Giants had the out, and it was first come, first serve. Could have opted out of the stadium deal and gone and tried to find a new stadium just for themselves.
That'd be great.
The New York Jets declined the opt-out.
What?
Meaning we are getting a minimum of 4 more years of football in a shared stadium in New Jersey with the Jets and the Giants. Now, to be fair, the Giants could have opted out also. They chose not to, but that's really been their home, right? The Jets' home was Shea Stadium in New York, and they should have built the stadium on the west side of New York City. So MetLife Stadium is not going anywhere for a minimum of another 4.5 years. Yuck.
Ugh.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
You may be surprised, because I am, that the athlete in the world who has become the first billionaire is Cristiano Ronaldo. I did not know that, and I did not have that on my bingo card. So after his contract that he just signed, it means that he's the first athlete to ever earn $1 billion playing sports.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
This one's for you, Tommy Reynolds. I know you're a Rochester Americans guy, but the big team, the Buffalo Sabres, at home against the listless Rangers. Can we get plus 102? We can in overtime. Knockaroo does it again. Buffalo over the Rangers.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I told you Vladimir Guerrero would hit a home run. He hits a home run on his first pitch. 2-run shot, 2-0 Jays. And I gave you Suarez earlier. I'm telling you, Scott. Contreras last night, Story the other night. Bro, every night I've been hitting these home run props. And not the easy Ohtani ones at old plus 190. Right. These are plus 450s, baby.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. The number right now that we have to deal with is 5,000.
5,000.
5,000. It has been 5,000 days. 5,000 days since a New York team last won a championship. Wow. And it was the New York Giants, believe it or not, and Eli Manning against the New England Patriots.
That was the last one?
5,000 days without a championship. And we pride ourselves on being the best town and city in America. And we're probably not, to be honest. And we pride ourselves on, man, our street basketball is better than any other city in America. No matter where you go, I'll take New York City basketball over anywhere else. Haven't even been to an NBA final. God knows how long, right? But 5,000 days without a championship of any kind, which makes me ask the question, which of the New York teams is most poised and prepared to win the next one? So we can take the Brooklyn Nets, throw them out, right?
Okay.
We got to count hockey, but we're not hockey people here, even though your nickname is Pucks Johnson. The Islanders haven't won a game this year. I don't know who the Devils goalie is, and the New York Rangers can't score. So I don't think they're close right now. So let's keep it to the main sports, right? You have the New York Giants, a huge embarrassment over the last decade, but maybe they found a quarterback.
Yeah, maybe the future's bright, but they're not going to win it this year.
No, not winning it this year. The New York Jets are the biggest embarrassment in the sport. They're the only winless team left. So football is not the answer. Let's go to basketball. The Brooklyn Nets are out. The Knicks, for sure, are in the conversation.
Second best odds.
And they would have the best chance chronologically, I think, to win next, because you got to wait for the next baseball season to start. And then, of course, you have the Yankees, who are always in the playoffs, and the Mets, who have a payroll indicating they should be in the playoffs, but didn't get into the playoffs. So if I was ranking them right now, the Knicks are the obvious number one, and that's more because of the calendar. Right? The Knicks will be in the NBA Finals in June. No one else has a chance to win a championship prior to that. And again, I can't speak to the hockey as much. If you tell me you think one of the three hockey teams has a shot, I'll take your word for it. But I ain't that guy, because nobody cares about hockey, Boomer. So the Knicks, to me, are number one. And then number two, I still think it's the New York Yankees.
It is the Yankees.
Yeah.
It is
I put the Mets, like, real close.
You're third.
They need a better pitching staff, obviously. But 5,000 days without a title of any kind here in New York. And now all our eggs are in the Knicks basket. And I'm good with that. You know, the Knicks didn't play any starters last night, final preseason game. Season starts, I think, next Tuesday?
A week from today.
Yeah, and the Knicks lost by 50 to Washington. But who cares? It's preseason basketball anyway. But 5,000 days without a championship of any kind, I might have to acknowledge we're not the best sports city in America.
Well, I got people already reaching out to me about your disrespect of the New York Liberty.
Of the whom?
Of the New York Liberty.
And what sport do they play?
They play basketball.
No, they don't.
They play basketball.
I want to be clear. Nobody cares about women's basketball. We cared about Caitlin Clark, and maybe you care about Paige Buckers. Is that Buckets, whatever? But
Beckers.
No, I mean,
She's a better player than Caitlin Clark.
I'm glad you brought that up, because
people brought it up to me.
They're lying to you, right?
All right. I'm
because there's a small segment of the woke American community that wants to guilt you into feeling like you have to acknowledge or pay attention to women playing basketball. They're great athletes. They're really good basketball players, and good for them. But nobody cares. Unless you know one of them personally, or you went to a school that one of them went to. We were trying to fool ourselves into thinking that the American sports public enjoys or wants to see professional women's basketball. We don't. We never have, and we never will. And I want to be clear, that's not a knock on the talented women that play the sport. I can't beat them. They're great at what they do. but no one cares about what they do. We fell in love with one person, Caitlin Clark, and the WNBA and the far majority of active players have gone out of their way to trash her and to make her unlikable, which makes no sense to me. But we're never going to care about professional women's sports in this country. And that's not me being a bad guy or being a caveman. That's just factual. And again, does not take away from the reality that they're really good at what they do. And I appreciate them as athletes. We just don't care about it. And we never will.
Never? There'll never be a time?
And these fugazi people in your chat, they're lying to you.
I'm just bringing it up.
They don't care.
See, I'm the voice of the people.
And you don't care. And I don't care. Nobody cares. Have yourself
I like Paige can
a
really
great
move.
day. You got game 2 tonight, Dodgers and Brewers, and then much more football as we move towards Thursday Night Football. Thank you so much for watching the Craig Carton Show. Don't forget, we have the audio-only podcast available right now on Spotify and Apple, and much more content coming your way. Have a great day.